From The Seventh Bride by T. Kingfisher. The problem with crying in the woods by the side of a white road that leads somewhere terrible is that the reason for crying isn't inside your head. You have a perfectly legitimate and pressing reason for crying, and it will still be there in 5 minutes, except that your throat will be raw and your eyes will itch, and absolutely nothing else will have changed. This is Gothic.
Hey phone, it's me, Skeen. Sunday, January 18th, 2015, 8 a.m. The others are sleeping in. After what's happened the last few days, I can't blame them. Carl in the hospital, hanging on by the proverbial goblin's talon. Brothers Kitteridge, that awkward circus act, missing in action and wanted by the cops. Poor Allison, rich Allison, nearly drowned, then nearly frightened to death. Man, but it's a beautiful day for a drive. Driving my inheritance, 1936 Auburn Speedster. So here's me with the top down, the wind on my scalp, and the rubber on the road. Woo-hoo-hoo! 12:30 p.m. Took a drive about up to the point and looked for whales. Spoiler, I didn't see any. And then swung back down to the old haunts. Cane House looks the same as it did when I was watching out for the old man. Maybe another half wing. There were always carpenters around the place building something new. Laser told me it confused the ghosts. Well, he called them something other than ghosts, but though he could be as sharp as the proverbial squirrel's tooth, he wasn't all there those last couple of years. He had money, though, turns out, so whatevs. Doors were locked, so I unlocked the front one and took myself for a walkabout, I did. Oi! Poked around my old room and closed my eyes and went to the library. Only way I've ever been able to find it. Popped into the old man's secret room for some of the really good brandy. Mostly wanted to see if he still had them shrunken heads and whatnot in there. He did. Shiver. Creepy crap. And awesome. Made myself some lunch after and picnicked on the backyard. Avoided the hell out of the lighthouse, though. Talk about creepy. Don't tell no one, but I'm afraid of heights. 5:10 p.m. Drove back down to town and... Man, I poked around the shops for an hour or so. I found the cutest little purple-haired troll in the artist co-op. But here's the thing. I don't actually remember anything from then until now. I mean, crap, I didn't have that much brandy. But here I am on the South Road, speeding along like a demon in scrappy leather. I gotta find a place to turn this boat around and figure this shit out. Supposed to meet my new bro at the fish, anyway. Crap. 5:20 p.m. Damn car just jerked out of my control. I put the damn thing into a ditch. Shit, damn it. Gonna need a tow truck. And of course, there's no cell service this side of the island. There's not a bloody cell phone tower up on top of the mountain. Damn it. Deep breath, Skeen. Deep breath. Okay. I think I'm close to Jason's Airbnb. Maybe there's a phone up there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to hoof it all the way back into town in the dark. 6 p.m. Oh, shit.
Jason and Gigi, you are on the south side of Elk Island. You're still on the South Island Road, but you are at the base of the logging or forestry road that goes up to what is now apparent as Gigi's cabin, the one that Jason has been staying in until he moved his stuff down to the Spirit Bay Lodge. And you have found Skeen's Auburn, the one that they inherited, in the ditch there close to that turnoff, and have just heard a gunshot. What do you do?
How close are we to the turnoff up to the cabin?
The turnoff itself?
Yeah.
Not very far. It looks like Skeen went into the ditch about maybe 100, 200 feet before the turnoff.
Can we, see the turnoff or like lights from the cabin or anything?
You can see the turnoff, the logging road, the forestry road that goes up into the woods and up the side of Fog Mountain, but you cannot see lights or any such thing through the trees at this point.
Well, because my first instinct was to run off towards the cabin, but I was under the impression that we were like at the bottom of its driveway, and it sounds like it's a little farther away than that.
Yeah, there's not really a driveway for it. It is really just kind of a logging road that goes back up. And
right.
Yeah, there's a little rutted driveway that goes off of the forestry road, but it only goes like, maybe 50 or 80 feet before it gets to the cabin. But that is, as you know, Jason, that is about a quarter of a mile up.
Well, in that case, I guess I would like take 2 steps towards the, wall of blackness that is woods at night, and then think twice about it and turn back to Jason and go, where's the cabin from here? Should we drive there?
It's not far. It's a quarter of a mile. Here's my keys. Go back and get help. I think I'm going to try and find out what's going on.
Oh, I wanted to be the one to find out what was going on. I snatched the keys.
Well, you're more than welcome to choose to do so.
Yeah, I think... You're familiar with the place.
You are too. Well, you know of it anyway. And
fine.
Was it your grandma, Grace, that used to spend a lot of time there? So I'm sure she has.
Yes. The genetic memory of my grandmother spending time at a cabin. Yes, no, sure. I'll, check my cell phone real quick just to see if there's any service.
There is not.
All right.
Well, actually, that is not necessarily true. I'm sorry. Let me say that in a different way. Would you like to spend a survival point?
I have a different plan. Let's go up there together. Jason, and see what has happened. It could be something else, or there could be someone in need of immediate attention, and we'll get up to the cabin faster in the vehicle.
Allison, are you okay with this?
Gunshots in the night in a dark road where we just saw Carl, you said, on the road. Well, I'm not okay with it, but I think we have to.
I think somebody could be hurt, and we need to find out what's going on. But I also think we need help.
Yes, I also suspect that if there's a immediate present danger, we will want to have the car here with us and not off for who knows how long fetching help. So,
well, let's go.
So you guys jump in the car and
snatch my keys back from Gigi, and
again you peel off. You head up, driving up the forestry road, which is a lot rougher than the south road. And the trees are closer in on either side. The headlights don't seem to pierce the gloom as much as they were even on the blacktop below. Instead, they almost seem to make everything that is around even darker, that outside of that beam of light there is just, nothingness, just void.
And knowing that... knowing kind of the distance to the lodge and having driven it so much recently, I think Jason would turn off the lights when he gets closer to try and assess the situation and see through the darkness better.
Go ahead and...
Ooh, I get to roll.
Roll for me. What would you like to roll for that?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be Persuade Obscure. I think it would be... Or Persuade Dissuade. I think it would be more... Identify.
Persuade the car to be on the road. Yeah, I was going to say identify for finding the road.
Yeah.
You could also probably make an argument for pursue.
Okay, here's my question about survival points for switching your stats. Do you have to do that before you roll? Or can you make that decision after you roll? Sorry, I was looking at that rule and I was curious.
Yeah, so it doesn't actually specify. I personally think that you need to do it before you make the roll.
Okay. I'm going to go with trying to obscure the Jeep from notice. Not necessarily that I'm trying to identify the cabin. I'm trying to creep up slowly and cautiously, considering there was a gunshot.
Okay, so did you, speed up an eighth of a mile or so, and then you slow down, turn off the lights?
Yeah, got up the hill, and then when we're getting close, kill the lights and slow down.
Okay.
Oh, thank God. 23?
Wow.
All right, so yeah, it seems, I mean, you don't know.
Don't know yet.
But you're creeping along with just that low crackle of the gravel and branches and such popping underneath the wheels of the Jeep as you ease it along. How are you reacting to this slow going, Gigi?
I'm gripping that, the handle that is on the passenger side of vehicles with one hand and like the bottom of my seat with the other, and I'm gritting my teeth and leaning forward, trying to force my eyes to adjust to the dark better or faster.
It seems like it took longer than you remember, Jason, to get to the turnoff to the cabin, but you see it there finally. Do you turn down it?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's only 80 feet or so. Once you turn onto that drive, such as it is, you go through the trees there to a clearing.
And I'd probably stop about halfway or right next to the clearing.
You stop like right at the edge of the clearing. It's not a large clearing, but it's got a cabin in there. It's a single-story cabin. It is rough-hewn. It's not a log cabin, but it's rough-hewn wood. And it's got a pleasant little porch on it, although the whole place looks a little old and smelled a fair bit musty when you were in there, Jason. Also a bit of wood smoke, because the only heating for it is a fireplace and a wood stove. There's a large wood pile to the left of the porch, and there are about 3 steps that go up to the porch itself, and there's a couple of rustic chairs sitting out on that. And you see a light on inside of the cabin.
As soon as the Jeep stops, I would open the door. I mean, get out just as quietly as possible.
Yeah, as soon as she starts to open the door, I'm like, shh, just do it quiet.
I understand. That's what I'm doing.
By the way, I did say, shh, don't, just do it quietly. I whispered too much. I'm on a mic. All right, be careful.
Are you not coming with, or... That's fine. I'll just go. Yeah, I'll start trying to move.
I'll go with you, says Allison.
Okay, but
sure.
just stay to the shadows. I'm going to go around this side, and you go around that side. If I notice any danger and can distract them from you guys, get back to the Jeep and get out of here. I'm leaving the keys under the driver's seat.
Okay. Jason, how many rooms are there in the cabin?
There's the main living dining area with a little kitchenette off the side, and then there's 3 other rooms.
All right, just so we know to check them all. I'll go sneaking towards the cabin.
The clouds are high, scudding across a sky where the moon has just begun to rise, and you can see the moon dimly through those clouds as they swiftly dart across the sky. And you approach. What side were you going around, Jason? Right or left?
Actually, because I'm already on the driver's side, I would have went around that side of the clearing, staying to the shadows, and sneaking up to that side of the house, and they would go around the other side.
Makes sense.
So assuming that you're not driving a British Jeep, you were going around the left side of the cabin?
Yes.
That's the side with the wood pile, so you're starting around that way. Allison holding on to Gigi's shirt, kind of just gripping it, follows along behind you, Gigi, as you go to the right. And Gigi, I need you to roll and identify.
Okay. Could I conceivably add the, what are those called again? Specializations?
What is your specialization?
I named it Snoop, and I more intended it to be like if I was in someone's office for a little bit, maybe peeking at some papers or like eavesdropping or something like that. But would Snoop apply to like peeking in windows and seeing if I can suss out the situation inside?
Sure, I'll let you use that.
Cool. Wow. Okay. I can do math. 24.
Your target number was 48. The windows, the way that the house is set up, Gigi, is that porch that you get onto by taking 3 steps up leads to the main door, and that opens into that that living space that Jason was talking about. And that appears to be where the light is. Now, the windows are up a little higher. You aren't able to easily peer into them without like gripping a hold of the windowsill and pulling yourself up some, because the bottom part of the cabin appears to be a crawl space that's a good couple of feet off the ground to keep the whole place dry from heavy rains and such. But you are able to do that. You lever yourself up and get just your nose and your eyes above the windowsill. And the windows aren't dirty. There are curtains, though, on the inside. The curtains are have come apart just a little bit, and you can see into a reasonably cozy space lit with the warmth of a kerosene lantern and a fire going in the fireplace. But there's a couple of chairs, all made of those like limbs that have been highly polished, and then all built into a chair that probably sold down on Main Street to the tourist for a few $100. And there's also a little couch settee kind of thing made of the same materials that has a big cushy pillow on it to sit on. But you don't see anyone or anything inside the living room anyway. When you hop back down, though, you catch movement out of the corner of your eye in the woods out beyond the side of the clearing. Jason, you are going around the left side. What are you doing?
I'm keeping an eye on Gigi and Allison as I creep closer to make sure that I don't notice anything going towards them. But yeah, I would kind of do a similar thing, is go and look into the windows that I know have a good view of what could be going on in the house.
As soon as you pass the porch, you can't see them anymore. They're on the far side of the house. But you are also able to lever yourself up to the living room window, and you don't see anything there.
Do I see Gigi poking her nose over the other side in the other window?
That was my favorite scene in Doctor Who.
Actually, you know what? I like it. Yes, you do. But Gigi's not able to, maintain the hold very long. And then, just as you see Gigi's head disappear from sight across the way, you see a dark shape enter the room fast, and then the kerosene light goes out. Go ahead and roll for me a... man, it's like the act under pressure of Dead of Night. Identify.
You want me to do identify?
Yes.
12?
Yeah, you just weren't able to get a good look at the figure. You were about to turn away yourself, and you look back really quick once you see that form moving, and you realize that they're heading toward that window where you just saw Gigi, but then the light goes out, and the room is still lit by the fire in the fireplace, but it's on the opposite side and not enough to illuminate that area over there.
Of course, I have that horror movie moment where you see me like hunched down from the window with this wide-eyed look and just breathing really heavy while I absorb what the hell's going on.
On the other side of the house, I'm doing the same thing, but my back is to the wall and I'm staring out into the woods.
Then you hear a branch crack behind you, Jason, in the woods. Not a there was a branch that fell from the wind blowing it around kind of thing, but a somebody stepped on something branch. It could be a deer, but...
Okay. I'm looking at the woodpile and thinking, do I see an axe?
A survival point would get you one.
I will spend the survival point.
Does this remind you of session 0?
Yes.
Now it does.
Yes. So...
What are you looking at?
What's this? A character can spend a survival point to introduce a new element into the story. As I lean down to grab it, I peer over my shoulder looking into the woods, just trying to get some kind of visual from whatever might be creeping from behind me.
On the other side, Gigi, you see that motion in the woods, and then there's a crash of glass behind you as the window that you were just looking out of smashes outward, and glass shards fly all around. Allison squeaks and darts away, having a bit of glass phobia.
Yeah. I'll also dart to the side.
And then there is a shotgun blast.
Oh.
Boom, really loud right above you, and the flash of light that illuminates just for a moment the clearing right around you, and then also just for a moment a figure out in the woods, something taller and more misshapen than what you would expect to see out there. And I need you to roll an escape roll for me.
15 on the dot.
Well, that's not exactly, though, what you need to get in this case. This one could be an opposed roll.
Oh, gotcha.
Against a pursue, or even against an assault. And so your ears are ringing, Gigi, but then you hear Skeen's voice above you and behind there in the window yelling, "Get the hell out of here!"
Skeen?
They don't seem to be saying it to you, yeah. And then they look down as you say Skeen, and they're like, "Gigi? What the hell?
What?
Holy crap. Get in the house.
Allison,
get in the house
Allison,
now."
Get in the house.
Jason.
I would hear the muffled voices from the other side of the cabin.
You definitely hear the gunshot, and you hear muffled voices from the other side of the cabin.
Still keeping an eye to the woods where I thought I heard something moving around. I will make my way to the corner of the house like I'm going towards the front door, but being cautious and peeking around the corner and making sure everything's okay.
Give me an escape.
Escape. Oh, please. 15?
You scramble up onto the porch, and I am going to spend a survival point, not a tension point, but a survival point, because I am using assault, and I can't spend tension points on assault yet. But I can spend my monster's survival points. I'm going to spend a survival point to make that a 14 and not a 15. Would you like to counter that with your own survival point?
Oh, Patrick. Oh, Patrick. He's trying to kill me already, Sharon.
You've only been on for like 3 episodes.
I know, right?
Including this one.
I will...
This is why Richard is still here.
So, here's the thing. If you spend a survival point, you're still spending the survival point that you would be losing because this is a risky check.
Right.
But you'll also make them lose a survival point because they're spending one, but they'll also have to lose another one because of the they will have lost the challenge, the risky challenge.
Wouldn't you say I'm kind of going for the horror movie cliches, gaining a survival point for my efforts, though?
How many survival points do you have left?
If
here?
I do this, I'll be down at 3.
Oh, well, you have plenty. That's how many Carl's been working with this entire time.
All right, I'll take the 3.
But he also hasn't been out in the woods with
some kind of beasts in the woods chasing you.
Just in a deadly car crash with murderous.
I counter then, but you still have to spend your survival point.
Yes. So I actually ended up spending 2 survival points, and you spent 1. Of course, that raises the tension level up to
11.
Now, survival points are different than the tension points.
Right. Tension points are things I can use to spend on certain things at certain times that you can't counter with your own expenditures. But in this case, I was spending monster survival points.
Okay.
All right. And so here's what this looks like. Jason, you hear the gunshot. You have heard that crack off in the woods. You are looking over your shoulder as you run around to the front of the cabin and run up the steps. And you raise your axe up in your left hand as you reach for the door, for the doorknob, and an arrow thwacks into the axe handle, like right in front of your face. And it's just sticking there like it's embedded about an inch with this big old barbed arrow attached to it. It looks all... Well, you don't really have time to to analyze the look of the arrow, but even the initial impression is that it's big and heavy. And then you are opening the door and diving into the living room of the cabin. Now, a few miles away, in the Spirit Bay Clinic, in the only private room that they have, a figure is on a standard hospital bed. But there are non-standard blankets over this figure, tucked in around him to keep him warm. As Carl starts to awaken from the coma that he's been in ever since he was attacked by William Kitteridge in a car on the North Road. But Carl's memories currently, as he swims up from unconsciousness, are not of that incident on the North Road, but ones from a lot further back in time. Carl, you're in the house. Even back then, it was a wild, meandering house, but not as much as it is these days, even though you don't know that. You haven't been out there for years, but still, it was a sprawling place. But this particular memory, where are you in this memory?
I picture Carl as restlessly moving up and down the hallways, almost aimlessly, but he walks with a purpose, but it's like maybe he's lost something, he's looking for something, or maybe he's pacing.
As Carl is doing this, his older brother, Lazaro Kane, Lazzy, as he sometimes likes to be called, steps out of the library, and he sees you, Carl. He has this smile on his face, and he says,
"Oh, brother dear, come into the library. I've got something I wish to show you."
What do you want?
I just want to show you something. Come on, Carl.
Fine. Just be quick.
He leads the way into the library, which is not the library of today. It is back then it was a much smaller affair, a converted bedroom, perhaps, that the walls have been lined with bookshelves, and in the center of the room there is a round table, and on the table is a box. How old are the two of you in this memory?
Carl would be still late teens, maybe even 19, 18, somewhere in the neighborhood. So that'd put Lazaro, I think he's about 10 years older, so he'd be late 20s.
Lazaro's like,
"You're going to love this. You're just going to love this. I know you will."
And he walks over to the other side of the table and puts his hands on either side of the box lid. He's looking at you expectantly.
What is it?
And he opens it, and inside is the family cat, quite dead.
What have you done with the cat? Why are you showing me a dead cat? What nonsense is this?
I want to know what the dead cat's name is.
What is the dead cat's name, Carl?
The dead cat's name is Lydia.
I was going to say, what if it was Schrodinger, just ironically?
It was Schrody the cat.
Schrody the cat.
No, the cat was named Lydia after a family friend of our father's. I just learned this.
Go ahead and roll for me, Carl. Give me an identify check.
All right, let's see. Big money, no whammies. Not bad. That's a 16 total.
It seems fairly apparent that the cat's neck has been wrung, that the cat's head is twisted all the way around. By the way, listeners, tonight's episode may contain scenes of animal cruelty. Viewer discretion is advised.
And we do not condone this, please.
My puppy over here on the floor seems to be okay with cat violence.
My cat right next to me seems to be okay with cat violence. She's not listening though.
That's the cat, yeah. So Carl, he has that look on his face where at first it was the come on, get on the what in the world are you showing me and why are you wasting my time? And when he sees that this cat wasn't killed accidentally, this was purposely done, he stops and he says, "Wait, who would do? Wait, did you do this?"
Lassie just smiles.
Why would you kill a cat? It's a cat. What not? Oh, what are you? I don't understand.
Because I found our father's books, Carl. I found them finally where he hides them.
We're in the library, brother.
Oh, yes. Well, that's just so that, it was a place where I knew that none of the others would be coming. So, would you like to see?
Will this make more sense if I say yes?
Perhaps.
Then just show me what it is you want to show me so I can leave.
He puts his hands on the cat and kind of massages it for a second. And then he reaches under and he lifts the cat out and he puts it on the table and it's stiff with rigor mortis. He begins muttering under his breath. That muttering is painful to feel because you feel it, Carl. You can feel it vibrating right below your solar plexus. And it's the weirdest sensation. And in fact, I need you to make a protect roll. Oh, wait, no. You just rolled. I need to make an assault roll. That's what I didn't find earlier. I didn't find dice. Hey, do you know where I am? I'm in roll 20. I can roll dice there.
There you go. You got your dice right there. Roll 20.
They have a jingle now.
That's my jingle that I just wrote for roll 20.
What is your protect?
My protect is 6.
Ooh, 6. All right. You are able to not fend this feeling off, but you're able to kind of internalize it like the hum of one of those newfangled power lines. I don't know. What year is it?
It'd be early 40s.
Oh, well, yeah. Actually, they probably did just get power to the island not long before. But it's actually kind of like the hum of the lighthouse that it will make sometimes, and so when that sound at the lighthouse makes it difficult to sleep, you're able to put that into the background, and you're able to kind of push this down to how otherwise do you react?
If it's a almost like a palpable sensation, I have that almost nervous look. You know when you don't know what to do, so you kind of do that crawling out of your skin sensation, where you just seem restless and you're scratching your arms and you're kind of self-soothing, with your own hands, kind of just rubbing your forearms and just seeming very uncomfortable while you're trying to process. Looking around, trying to understand what is happening.
Your attention is divided as you are looking almost everywhere except at your brother and the cat. But it is very hard not to see that the cat twitches, that the front legs jerk, that the head tries to turn but can't. Your brother just starts not laughing. It's somewhere between a laugh and a giggle.
What are you doing? What is this? What are you doing?
I'm doing those things that our father has hidden from us, that he's kept to himself. I'm doing magic.
So it's a trick?
Give me a persuade.
Ooh, that's pretty good. 19 on the roll.
So yeah, he says, he looks at you, and there's a look that comes into his eyes that if you had to call it something, you might call it pity. And he says,
"Yes, brother. Yes, it is a trick. I found the cat. I did not wring its neck like this. I don't know how that happened, but I found a book of father's. I don't know, perhaps from when he was a child. It was a book of magic tricks, and this one allows you to make a dead body look the illusion of life."
If you would like to try to see if he is lying or not, you may, but you may also wish to just accept that. I don't know what Carl would do.
So I think Carl's going to do the, he'd been really kind of nervous and out of sorts while this is going on, a little anxious, but he's had a moment now to calm himself. So he stops and looks at, his brother, just intently staring at him for a very long, awkward moment. And then he looks at him with a sense of resolve and says, "Brother, this was a trick. It must be. You know it is. What you're saying isn't good. It's a trick."
Of course it's a trick. Of course it's a trick, Carl. I mean, that's the whole point of magic, right? Illusion.
But who's being fooled?
What do you mean?
He continues to massage the cat.
And has the cat changed in any way?
Not at the moment, no. It's still twitching, but it's not, hasn't like leapt up and gone meow or anything. The gardener has not come into the room and said, "Well, the things you bury up there, they just don't stay dead. They don't."
Was that Jimmy Stewart? Is Jimmy Stewart the gardener?
I didn't know he was in Pet Sematary.
We're so rich we can employ Jimmy Stewart as our gardener.
It's the little-known Jimmy Stewart version of Stephen King's Pet Sematary.
I'd watch that.
Well, you see.
Yeah, there's the deep fake that needs to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So Carl will again have that kind of moment of awkward silence. And he says, "So what are you going to do now? The cat's not dead. The cat's not alive."
Well, of course the cat is dead. Like I said, it's a magic trick.
He thumps the cat on the forehead, and it goes still.
See? Dead cat. Yeah, what should we do with it?
We aren't doing anything with the cat. You need to fix that. And I suggest whatever you found, you hide it again and leave it that way.
Well, why would you say that, brother?
It feels, well, not good.
And the cat jumps up off the table and runs out past you, Carl, into the hallway. I think perhaps we need to go back a little further, actually. Let's go back, say 10 more years, putting you, Carl, at about age 8.
Oh, boy.
Where are you now?
One of the larger living rooms was kind of his, I'd say, place central, but for him, it was it was a battlefield. The furniture were the trenches, the lamps were the cavalry, and he liked to play soldier. And that was the biggest room and had the most room for him to play and run. So that's where he would be.
And so you're playing with your metal soldiers?
A lot with his imagination. But yeah, he has a few things set up and things that aren't necessarily, soldiers. He's got some toys that don't seem to make sense for war toys, but he's established them as certain things and, put them around the room. And he is kind of just play acting a battle. At
that point, you, young Carl, you hear a strange sound behind you. You hear it's a squeaky wheel, really is what it sounds like. And you hear,
"Hello?"
And rolling out of the shadows of a hallway is, for a moment, you think it's your father, but it can't be. Your father is strong and hale and would never allow himself to be in a wheelchair. And that is what's coming, is a wheelchair and a figure in it rolling forward, a figure with strange accoutrements, things like tanks of some sort attached to the wheelchair, and a clear mask over his face. And when he lowers the mask, as old as he is, older by far than your father, you see the resemblance, and you would almost say that the features are very similar to a much, much older version of your brother, your 18-year-old brother, Lazaro. The figure lowers the mask and says, "Hello, boy." No, that's the wrong accent.
Boy?
Hello. Hello, boy. How you doing?
Who are you?
I'm your brother. And here's the thing. You're not 8. You're more like me, all cut up, all beat up in a hospital room. You need to come back, boy.
But I'm having fun here.
You need to wake up because the family needs you real bad right now. Things are happening, things I put into motion
things maybe I shouldn't maybe you were right, but I did it. It's done. I tried to fix some of it. I ain't. But you gotta wake up. It's why I've kept you alive this long, boy.
Oh, that hurts.
But I'm awake now. Can't I just stay here?
You feel something sharp in your neck, and I need you to protect. Except it's not you. Dagnabbit. It's me assaulting you. I'm assaulting 8-year-old Carl. No.
What kind of monster are you?
Sentences you never thought you
I knew
would
that guy
say.
was screwed up.
What is your protect?
6.
Oh. You reach up and you feel something sharp in your neck, and you pull it out and you look at it, and it's a bloody shard of glass, but you can just look at it. It's kind of distant from you. It seems not quite real.
When I look down, do I see anything else, or do I just see the glass?
Are you thinking that you see like in the car or something?
Yeah. Am I still seeing myself in the car, or where is Carl when he's seeing or feeling this glass?
For a moment, Carl, you look down at the glass, and you aren't in the living room playing with your soldiers. You are in a hospital room. There's beeping. There's the sound of people talking distantly, not in the room with you, but in the hallways. But then you're back in the living room with wheelchair-bound Lazaro.
Real close on that one. Could have gone either way. Hold on, boy.
And he lifts the mask up to his face.
And there's a moment where 8-year-old Carl is just kind of frozen in place, looking at this person that he doesn't understand and isn't quite certain what's happening. And, old Lazaro in the wheelchair is kind of staring back at him, making that horrible noise as he breathes. And just then, between the two, almost nonchalantly strolls a very lively black cat, just swishing her tail as she walks back and forth between, almost interrupting the scene. And young Carl looks at the cat as it walks by, and the last moment the cat kind of turns around in the way that cats do, that gives you that kind of smirk, like I go where I want and do what I want. And at that moment, Carl looks up at his brother and he speaks, but instead of 8-year-old Carl's voice, you hear old Carl's voice. Brother, what have you done?
In the woods near the hunting cabin, you, Gigi, see more movement out there. More figures, not just one. There has to be more. In the cabin, Jason, you roll in and you hear ch-ch-ch, and then you see out of the corner of your eye a figure turning toward you with something long in its arms. But you definitely heard the sound of a shotgun being racked up.
Wait. They're attacking me too.
Who? Jason? Holy, is the whole family out here?
Skeen, we were looking for you.
That's not good. I don't think that's good. Gigi's outside, and I think Allison? Did I see Allison?
Oh, wow. Are they going to try to come through the front door?
Gigi, get inside the house.
As soon as I have a hold of Allison.
Let's see how well you have done keeping Allison in line here. Gigi, roll a persuade check for me.
Okay. It's a 15 on the dice plus 5, so 20.
20. That's pretty good.
This is the opposite of my Zweihander character.
Allison starts to bolt, but you grab her, and what do you say?
Allison, we need to get inside the house right now. And yank her towards I'm going to go to the front door and not to the window because glass.
Yeah, getting through the window would be difficult anyway, because there's nothing to stand on here to lever up.
We also didn't go super far, so I feel like the front door is a viable option.
Except since you just rolled, that's going to be on me, so that means it gets to be an assault.
Oh, so if you're assaulting, am I protecting or escaping? I can use my boxing specialty to punch a Wendigo as it...
I would think probably not. But let's see. Oh, wait. I've got to actually roll.
That was ironic. Wendigos are not from the Pacific Northwest.
Man, I'm rolling crappy here on roll 20. An arrow thuds into one of the porch posts. Not really even all that close to you, although it was pretty close to Allison. And yeah, and then you are inside too, and also having a gun briefly leveled at you before Skeen is able to identify that you are you. Oh, great! The clan's all here. It's
Skeen, are there more guns?
That's a great question.
I didn't see any. This one was. They point above the fireplace where there's a couple of hooks and a taxidermied boar head hanging up there, and says it was up there and and loaded.
Okay, do you know who's attacking us?
Jason, you don't recall there being any other guns in the...
Yeah, I figured as much.
You never took down the shotgun to see if it was loaded or not.
Yeah, and I figured as much, but, Skeen, do you know who's attacking us?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Man, that's... they are freaky as all shit, man.
Jason, would you help me move this wardrobe in front of the door, please?
There's like an old antique cabinet right next to the door that looks like it holds, some old books and things that are just there for show mostly.
How about that table? Let's get it in front of the window. What about the other windows?
I got in there and I got the light going, and I thought it would scare them off if I just shot a time. And I shot out, I leaned out the front door and I shot at them. But man, they look weird. I didn't really get a good look at them, but I saw them there in the trees as I thought, when I went into the ditch, I thought maybe I could come up here and use the phone or something. And, because I wasn't getting no cell service down there. But, man, I'm talking. I'm here. Yeah. Let me help with that table.
We get the table positioned up over one of the windows. Is there any other large furniture items that we can barricade the other windows with?
You can pile a couple of chairs on top of one another. The best advantage there is that the windows are above the ground level a ways, that they can't easily be, climbed through.
Jason strolls back over to where he put the axe down when he went to help move the furniture, yanks or at least attempts to yank the arrow from the axe. If unsuccessful, points at it and is like, they're shooting arrows at us.
Yes, I noticed.
And on that, one comes through a window.
Oh, are you kidding me?
More furniture. Let's get the chairs up next to the windows.
I need a protect or escape or whatever you feel like you want to give a go of for... Let's make it Jason.
Okay. Which window closest to me, closest to Gigi, closest to who?
It's going to be the one closest to you, since you're the one doing the...
Initially, I would escape the direct impact, so I'll go with escape.
And this is coming through the window on the left side, the one that you have piled chairs in front of.
Let's see, 10 and 6, 16.
16? Is not quite enough. Would you like to do anything about that?
Am I going to lose the survival point anyway?
Yes. But you will cost them another one.
Oh, dang. Okay. In that case, I will go ahead and use my sleight of hand to flip the axe around.
You can use it to re-roll.
Oh.
And because you're using it to re-roll, I will also let you re-roll with a different attribute if you want.
Okay. I guess that's what's happening. And you still accept that I'm going to flip the axe around in my hand and try and catch the thing?
Sure.
Okay, then yeah, if you will let me use my sleight of hand, manual dexterity kind of specialty, that gives me a 19 at the expense of another survival point.
And at another one of theirs, too.
Fortunately, as the window crashes inwards towards Jason, as he's flipping the axe around to a more better position to defend himself, it catches what seems to be another one of those large arrows that bounces off the head of the axe and barely misses his head.
Carl, you find yourself in the trenches during the war, and you're in the midst of a battle. There's explosions. It's messy and dark and muddy. All the horrible things that war has been. Your fellow soldiers in your company are around you, and they're like leaping up out of the trench and firing or tossing grenades, and they are all around and moving everywhere. But for you, it's almost silent. Everything is muted. What else has been going on here?
The way I see it, it's that exhaustion of war. It's not just the grenades going off or the gunfire or the stress of the moment. It's the fact that it's been going on for so long. It's gone past routine, past normal to pure exhaustion, to the point where people around around are cracking, not just over one little thing, but the stress of having been in these intense situations and near death for so long.
And then you hear it.
Hey, boy. War's hell, ain't it?
Not that you'd know.
Lazaro is there in his wheelchair in the trenches. There are weird details, though. The wheels of it are deep in the mud. They're not like levitating above it or anything. The wheelchair is heavy and they're stuck in the mud itself. In fact, Lazaro is kind of idly trying to push himself forward, but the wheelchair is not moving. His clear mask that he had from that visitation when you were 8 is a gas mask. It's a half gas mask that he holds up from these really beat up looking green World War I oxygen tanks. And he says,
This is about the end of it. I'm not quite sure what to do from here, boy. Yeah.
I came here to get away from you.
Well, didn't work. You can't get away from family. Not forever.
This is all you, isn't it? Every bit of it.
He looks around.
I did not start a war. I might have tried. I might have tried to stop one, but not the ones you're thinking of. I need you to wake up. The family's in trouble, and you've got to keep them. You got to keep them alive. Because I did my damnedest to make sure that they wouldn't, but it's up to you now.
And there's that moment in the roar in the battle as the soldiers around him seize the moment, and there's a push that begins to run forward, and people start to charge, and they're moving by Carl as he's just standing there. The explosions are louder. There's more gunfire. You hear the cheering. You hear orders being shouted to push forward, and Carl just kind of stands there and lets them go by. And he turns and looks at the battle. He turns to look at the place where Lazaro was just a moment ago, and he realizes, I have to go back, don't I? I always knew it.
When you turn and look back at Lazaro, you say that, and then your eyes focus, and you realize that he's not there. You are in the car. You were in the car after it has crashed into the guardrail, after you saw your dead wife standing in the road. You see out the back window, because you have also turned your head in this memory. You have turned your head and you're looking out the back window of the car, and you see Candace back there standing on the road, and she's looking at the car, and she's got this smile on her face. And you also see her fingers moving, and you see her mouth muttering words that you can't hear, but you feel them rumbling below your rib cage. And then you're back in the war fields. At the cabin, more arrows thunk into the side of the cabin itself, but they don't make it through the windows, and you're staying relatively clear of that window that is blocked by the chairs now. So what are you doing? Allison's having a little minor freak out, but she's actually holding up pretty good. She's had practice now the past few days of dealing with traumatic situations.
Skeen, what brought this on?
All right, so I was out there. I was coming up the road. It was dark. I had a lighter, so I was using that to light my way up.
This being after you took the car into the ditch?
Yeah. And I I heard these whispers. Out in the trees. And then I saw some figures, but that was a little bit later. They were saying, and they look up at the ceiling and in memory of this, trying to remember. They said, take that one. We can use them to get the others up here.
Oh, dear. Huh.
If you kill it, they will come.
I recommend we close all the curtains so they cannot see inside.
Thankfully, we don't have much light anymore.
That's true.
What? I still stand to who are they and what do they want of us?
Let's maybe move into a bedroom or a restroom, which has a smaller window, so that they have less chance of hitting us.
Speaking of which, you hear a crash in the back of the cabin.
Or not.
It seems like they're already on their way in.
This hunting cabin has altogether too many windows for my comfort. I'll have to see about that later. Are there any more axes?
Skeen checks the shotgun. I know that Jesse would probably be a little reluctant to do this, but Sharon, would you like Gigi to spend a survival point to have a few more shells available?
The shells for the shotgun? Yeah, absolutely. I'll pull open the nearest drawer and it's like full of them. Oh, look at that. That's handy. Sure.
Of the armoire thing that was sitting next to the front door, one of the drawers got jostled open as you and Allison were moving it over, and you happen to see shotgun shells even as Skeen is cursing, saying, I'm out,
Skeen,
I'm out,
Skeen,
there's no shells,
here's more,
I'm out.
Here's more.
Sweet. And they pump a bunch of those into the shotgun, and then just go to the hallway that goes back toward the back of the cabin and just fires blindly down it. Boom.
I start stuffing more shelves into my pockets and follow. Ooh, you know what I'll grab? I'll grab the fire poker.
Oh, dang you. No, because while you are grabbing shells, I'm going to grab the fire poker.
You have an axe already.
But I was trying.
This is an opposed roll.
I was actually going to try to arm everybody else. Okay, you go ahead and get the poker. I'm gonna go to the kitchen and grab some of the big knives.
Oh yes.
Some of the giant knives, and hand one to Allison and be like, "It's just for your defense. We're gonna get out of this, okay?"
Yes. If anything threatens you, wave it wildly and scream really loud. That should scare off most things.
Carl, give me an identify check, please.
Identify. 17.
In the vision of you in the car, you turn back around away from Candace standing behind the car, making strange motions with her hands and mumbling, and you are staring right at William Kitteridge's face. And the expression on it is not one that you have seen before, but it's one you saw the hints of there at the reading of the will. And he is plunging a bloody piece of glass over and over into you. So I've got no roll for you here. If you wish to regain consciousness, it's going to cost you a survival point.
Yeah, okay. I'll spend the survival point.
All right. Do you have it to
I
spend?
do. I
have several.
I have 2 left, so this will leave me with 1 plus the 1 of a different color.
Ooh.
As you see that, you kind of jerk out of your body, or at least out of this memory that's not a memory, and you are standing on the side of a road. You may or may not recognize it, but it is a blacktop road. It is, you have the sense of it being on the south side of the island. You can feel the bulk of Fog Mountain kind of looming in front of you, and there is a car coming down the road, lights beaming, and it passes you, and you see that in it, it's a Jeep. It's a blue Jeep, and inside of it is Jason and Gigi and Allison. You see that Jason sees you, and the car comes to a skidding stop a few hundred feet ahead of you, and then you blink, and you are waking up inside of the Spirit Bay Clinic, and you feel bandages thickly wrapped around your neck.
Is there anyone in the room?
There is not.
I'm going to do the, kind of feel that area and just do a general overall assessment.
It's tender, but not as tender as you feel like it ought to be, if that makes any sense, because, each time there was, something that, you felt a pain about it.
Having been in, some rough situations before, do the order of operations. First, see if everything seems to be working, fingers, toes, move the head, everything seems to be functional. Then he'll try to slowly sit up. So assuming that all that works, Carl will try to sit up in the bed and swing his feet off to the side. Once again, all this is a slow process, just making certain that, everything's working. He knows not to get up quickly. I mean, when you're that old, you don't want to get up quickly anyway, let alone after something traumatic. And if there's nobody stopping him yet and he thinks that that's okay, then the next order of business is to look for clothes. Does he find any?
Well, you are kind of constrained. You have a number of sensors and such attached to you, as well as an IV drip.
While looking around for clothes, he'll pull some of these sensors off, but not the IV. He knows that'll bring people.
A voice from the door says, "What do you think you're doing, honey?" And you look, and your dead wife is standing in the door. Back at the cabin, Skeen just did a shotgun blast down the hallway, and Gigi is headed toward the windows. So is Allison, to pull the curtains closed so that perhaps those outside won't be able to see as well. Gigi, you see light outside. And Jason, I'm sorry, what was Jason doing?
Yeah, so I grab the biggest chef's knife that I can find and put it in Allison's hands and told her to...
Well, she's still back in the front room doing curtains. So you are grabbing at knives, and there is a window in the kitchen over the sink, and because there's windows apparently all over this cabin, and you see light outside too. Gigi and Jason, you both glance out really briefly, and you see that outside there are perhaps a half a dozen, maybe 8 figures. They have lit torches that are illuminating the clearing to a certain extent. They are standing at the edge of the clearing, and you can see the shapes of them. People, but with something wrong about the heads. And that's not the thing that you see first, because that's so strange. You see the bows that several of them are carrying, the quivers of arrows slung over their shoulders. You see the packs that they seem to have, backpacks. And you also then see in the glow of the torchlight that they're all wearing what appear to be rabbit head masks.
I hate this. This is terrible.
And we'll find out where all of this goes next time on the Gothic Podcast.
That's our new theme song. That's our new theme song now. Oh, good grief.
Creepy.
The Gothic Podcast is an actual play audio drama produced by C. Patrick Nagel, starring C. Patrick Nagel, Sharon Gollery-LaFournaise, Jesse Baldwin, and Nathan Addison. Theme music is by Zoe Hovland, with cover artwork by Jared George Art. Season 2 of the Gothic Podcast uses rules from the Monster of the Week RPG by Michael Sands and the Dead of the Night RPG by Steam Power Publishing, written by Andrew Kenrick. Look us up by name on all the social medias or email us at thegothicpodcast@gmail.com. Support for the Gothic Podcast comes from you, our listeners, so please rate, review, and share. And we have a Patreon page too. Thanks for listening.